I'm so sorry I am unable to be with you personally because of my health, but my greetings and my love are with you. You are gathering on a very, very important subject, a subject that has basically taken my life over in terms of dedication, the issue of the seed. Seed is the very embodiment of life. Seed is life, and life is diversity. Life is freedom. Today, it is that life of the seed and that freedom of the seed, and with it the freedom of people, that is being extinguished. So a handful of corporations would like to own the seed, control the seed, manipulate the seed. We've repeatedly been told this is to increase food production. We've repeatedly been told that industrial farming is very, very efficient. We've been told the green revolution that was industrial farming introduced in India saved us from famine. And now increasingly genetic engineering is sold as the miracle to hunger. But look at the reality. First, all we have is expanding monocultures of a few commodities. Rice and wheat and corn during the Green Revolution, soya, corn, canola and cotton during the genetic engineering revolution. Monocultures do not feed people. Monocultures supply commodities to global markets, and it doesn't matter where the commodities go. They could be running a rich man's car, or they could be torturing animals in factory farms. That's where most of the grain in the world is going today, particularly in the United States, because the subsidies are driving grain that should be eaten by people to tanks of cars and torture factories of animals. We have done better, we can do better. For example, look at the beautiful, innovative system the indigenous people of the United States, of America, of Turtle Island evolved centuries ago. The three sisters growing corn, which gives the support, with beans, which provide the nitrogen and climb along the corn, and squash that protects the soil from the sunshine and the heat and the cold and prevents weeds. And you want to get vitamin A, eat oranges and the yellows and the greens. That's where vitamin A comes from. You'll never have vitamin A deficiency if you're eating squash. You'll never have nitrogen deficiency in the soil if you're growing beans. Today they want to give us genetically engineered rice in the name of solving the vitamin A deficiency. You'd have to eat 3 kilograms of rice a day. And we have so many more options that we have evolved as indigenous cultures. Amaranth, the beautiful tree in India called the sahajan, the moringa. In every meal in India, the coriander, the beautiful curry leaves, all of them have 1,400 micrograms of vitamin A. All that the pathetic golden rice would give us after billions spent on research would be 34 micrograms. Humanity and nature are both much more intelligent. And the genetic engineering miracle, we've just released a new report called "The Emperor Has No Clothes." The GMO emperor was strutted around in the name of increasing yields. The GMO emperor was strutted around in the name of reducing chemical use. The GMO emperor was strutted around in the name of having very, very effective control of weeds and pests. What we have in about 15 years of commercialization is not a single crop in which yields have increased, only in Monsanto's public relations pen. In India, Monsanto sold the BT cotton with the toxic gene in it, on the claim that it would give 1,500 kilograms. The average yields have been between 300 and 500 kilograms per acre. In the United States, the Union of Concerned Scientists has done a report titled Failure to Yield, Not in a Single Crop. Has the yield come from genetic engineering? It's come from conventional breeding. The issue of chemical use reduction is also totally false. We are using more chemicals in genetic engineered agriculture than in conventional agriculture. Roundup use has doubled in Argentina after Roundup Ready soya was introduced. On an average, 15% more Roundup gets used in crops that are supposed to be resistant to Roundup. In India, the BT cotton was supposed to control the bollworm. The bollworm has evolved resistance. New pests have been created. 13-fold more pesticide use in villages where we work to prevent farmers from getting addicted to BT cotton and the chemicals it goes with. But worse, the claim that this would control weeds and pests has also failed. The United States has been overtaken by superweeds in fields grown by Roundup resistant, with Roundup resistant soya and corn. And as I mentioned, India has a bollworm that's resistant. China has 12-fold more pests occurring. There are other claims that are false. The claim of safety. The only place where one doesn't know about safety of GMOs is the United States, because there's a very fake, non-scientific assumption called substantial equivalence, which says treat the genetically engineered food or crop as if it's equal to the non-genetically engineered one. So no one looks, no one finds. And if independent research or public research in other parts of the world shows that there are risks, like Arpad Putsai, whose work showed that rats fed with GM potatoes, shrunken brains, enlarged pancreas, collapsed immunity. Or Eric Seralini in France, very eminent scientist who, using Monsanto data, showed proof of organ failure. Or Irina Ernikova of the Russian Academy of Sciences, who showed that rats fed with GM soya had tumors, very, very high rates of death of offspring, and all kinds of diseases. We are told there's no proof of hazards. Well, if you don't see, you won't look and you won't find. And then there's the issue of coexistence. The U.S. Department of Agriculture Secretary Vilsack, at a meeting in May in Washington, said, and I heard him, I was there because it was an international conference, and he said, I have 2 sons and I love them both. One is GMO, one is organic, and I want them to coexist. There's nothing like coexistence. Organic farming does not contaminate, but genetic engineering does. Most of the seed supply of the world has been destroyed with contamination. And the companies want to seek control over the entire seed supply. The instrument is ownership and patents. Seed has not been invented by Monsanto. It is stolen by Monsanto, as has been proven in the genetically engineered aubergine, where all the material, the aubergine, was native. 4 varieties were stolen by Monsanto without permission. We happen to have a law called the Biodiversity Act. And right now Monsanto is being sued by the government of India for its theft of our genetic wealth. And it's not the first time. I sued them years ago on the theft of an old wheat variety which is low gluten. They thought they could grab the market of gluten intolerance around the world. Monsanto has taken control of 95% of the cotton seed supply in India since it entered. It has increased the cost 8,000%. This control and increase means debt. Debt is pushing our farmers to suicide. There have been 250,000 suicides just a little over a decade since all the seed monopoly started to grow. And of those 250,000, the majority are in the cotton belt, and most of the cotton belt is now dependent on Monsanto's GMO cotton. Even in the United States, 89% of the soya is genetically modified, 83% of the cotton, 75% of the canola, and 69% of the corn. Even in things like software, Microsoft gets sued for monopoly if its market share goes beyond a point. But somehow in agriculture, monopolies are not treated as monopolies. And so you have one company, Monsanto, controlling 95% of the GM seed supply, wanting to control 100% of all seeds. They've bought up major vegetable seed companies. They want to push their marketing up to $3 billion in vegetable seeds alone. They bribe governments, influence governments, lobby governments. And I have witnessed the White House being a Monsanto White House, whether it was President Bush Sr., Clinton, President Bush Jr., and sadly, even Obama. And they think there's only one rule in foreign policy: push GM on countries that don't want it. As a result, our Prime Minister office, which does everything the White House tells it to do, has also started to push our regional governments to introduce GMOs. We're fighting these issues. We've not allowed GMOs beyond cotton, but our seed supply is severely threatened as Monsanto is handed over the genetic wealth of the richness of our biodiversity. Years ago in 1987, I started to save seeds to deal with this emerging threat. The threat has grown so fast, so big, and there's only one answer. The answer is seed sovereignty and food sovereignty. That is why we create community seed banks. And we've set up more than 60 now, so farmers can have the seed, be free to save seed, can be free to exchange seed. Even more importantly, these community seed banks are a declaration that seed is a commons, that seed is our freedom, seed is our life. A poem that has always inspired me in seed saving is from Palestine. Burn our land, burn our dreams, pour acid onto our songs, cover with sawdust the blood of our massacred people, muffle with your technologies the screams of all that is free, wild, and indigenous. Destroy everything, our past, our literature, our metaphor, denude the forests and the earth till no insect, no bird, no word can hide. Do that and more. I do not fear your tyranny. I do not despair ever, for I guard one seed, a little live seed, that I shall safeguard and plant again. So let's all become seed savers, which means the protectors of our cultural diversity and our biodiversity. This is where freedom lies.